Hello there everyone and welcome to TVS Nightline, here with me, Cheryl Shamina, and as always, thank you for joining me tonight. Let's get to the headlines. Now, as a platform for Sarawakans moving forward, Sarawak is now in discussion to open 2 more Sarawak Trade Tourism offices, STATOS, in Brunei and Indonesia. This effort will encourage the exploration into international markets.
Assistant Minister of Agricultural Modernisation, Custom Land and Regional Development, Dato Dr. Abdul Rahman Ismail said, previously the same office was opened in Singapore as a measure to expand the market for agricultural products, small and medium enterprises and tourism. This opening will surely bring in more investments and trade into Sarawak through marketing and collaborations with Brunei. This will definitely improve the agricultural sector, especially around the northern regions of the state. STATOS has also launched the Promotional Assistance Scheme through the incentive from the Sarawak government to help companies prepare for the export of products inclusive of their cost of branding, promotion and strategic marketing. The establishment of STATOS aims to generate new import, but more importantly, to drive long-term development of new foreign direct investment and economic sustainability. Small-medium enterprises need to create a stronger global identity by exporting products unique to Sarawak to other countries in the Asian region. As of last August, according to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, Sarawak is ranked among the top 5 exporters in Malaysia at 4.7 billion ringgit or 5.9% of the total export value of 79.1 billion ringgit.
The Sarawak Health Department is looking for 400 volunteers to take part in the COVID-19 vaccine trial. The trial is expected to start in early to mid-January 2021. However, this is just a trial or study and not vaccination per se, as the vaccine has not been approved for the market yet.
The Sarawak Health Department Director Dr. Chin Zin Hing explained that the volunteers will have to go for a total of 6 visits to Sarawak General Hospital for completion of the trial. He stressed that the COVID-19 vaccine trial is part of a national effort to eradicate COVID-19. For further information, one can contact Sarawak General Hospital at 012-310-8108. According to the consultant pediatrician at Damansara Specialist Hospital, Dr. Musa Mohammad Nordin, the human body is smart. This is because the immune response not only creates antibodies to kill viruses, but also creates the antibodies with immunological memory.
Walaupun tahap antibody itu berkurangan, tetapi kita ada memori. Jadi bila kita kena serang, kita ada memori untuk mengeluarkan antibody yang baru. Tetapi ingat, walaupun you katakan dia kurang, setakat ini hanya 30 kes reinfection. Bayangkan, kita dah ada 80 juta kes-kes COVID, tetapi yang kena COVID kali kedua hanya 30. Apa maknanya? Maknanya, either antibody yang dah turun tu mencukupi atau dia mensahkan pendapat kita bahawa ada memory cell, kalau dia kena sekali lagi, dia boleh mengeluarkan surge, dia will ramp up the antibodies.
And the Tabung Baitulmas Rawak OTBs expects the total revenue from Zakat for business this year to increase by as much as 5%. Its General Manager, Dato' Abang Shibli Abang Muhammad Naili, said this means an increase to 47 million ringgit compared to last year's 45 million ringgit.
Lebih kurang seperti yang berlaku dalam tahun 2019. Masih okey. Jadi kita berdoalah supaya sikat-sikat seperti mana yang dinyatakan oleh Datuk Yang Dipertua tadi dia bergantung. Tapi pada masa kita rekod kita sekarang, kita masih pada angka lebih kurang. Kita untuk tahun 2021 kita tidak berani nak memberi satu peningkatan yang drastik. Kita menjangka dia akan meningkat mungkin 5% saja. Daripada 45 juta naik 5% dan mungkin dalam lingkungan 47 juta tersebut.
Commenting further, he said last year, Baitul Mal Sarawak successfully collected 110 million ringgit in Zakat as a whole, wherein 40% of it is Zakat for business. Realizing the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy, Shibli hopes that companies can contribute Zakat, if only at the amount that they can afford. He said this after receiving business zakat payment from Petronesa Berhad and Sanjung Etika Berhad, witnessed by Chief Minister Datuk Petinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg in Wisma Bapa Malaysia on Wednesday.
Right. Now, meanwhile, non-Sarawakans are now allowed to continue to stay in Sarawak until 31st March this year. These are those whose social visit passes expired during the restricted movement control order and had been advised to leave the state by December 31 last year.
This was disclosed by Assistant Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Datuk Sebastian Ting, in a statement today. These are non-Sarawakians come from Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah, Brunei and certain foreign countries. Many of them are married to Sarawakians and have been residing in the state with their families. Before this, he was approached by them on the matter, adding that they were quite worried and didn't know how to make travel plans at this time of pandemic. Sebastian also expressed his gratitude to the Sarawak government for being considerate, understanding and compassionate during this COVID-19 pandemic.
Now, experts have set a period of 2 months to identify more than 90% of the main side effects after taking the COVID-19 vaccine. The main side effects could be experienced are mainly sores, swelling and redness around the area where the needle was inserted.
Pediatric consultation expert Dr. Musa Muhammad Nordin said these side effects are very minor, however, and could heal within 2 days after immunization.
Semua kesan-kesan sampingan yang kita kenali adalah yang kecil. Sakit. Ya, merah, bengkak. 80%. Baik dalam 2 hari. Sistemiknya, pening kepala, lemah, fatigue, ya, demam antara 50%. Terutama mereka yang kurang daripada 55 tahun dan pada dos yang kedua. Ini merupakan adverse effects following immunization, kesan sampingan selepas imunisasi yang kecil. Yang bahaya, no red flags yet.
With regards to this, he urged the people to not be easily influenced by claims on social media regarding vaccine side effects. On the contrary, they should fact-check those claims and be open towards taking these vaccines.
On to some COVID-19 updates as Malaysia has recorded 2,593 new COVID-19 cases, a new daily high. This puts the total number of infections in the country at 125,438. Meanwhile, 4 new deaths have also been recorded today. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said the Ministry of Health is bracing for another spike in cases in the coming weeks on the back of the recent festive season. He added the MOH is working closely with the National Disaster Management Agency to see if the agency can find way to isolate positive cases with asymptomatic and mild symptoms away from the community. Meanwhile, Sarawak recorded 5 new cases of COVID-19 today, with 2 each in Kuching and Miri and 1 in Cebu. This brings the total number of positive cases in the state to 1,166. The Stutong cluster recorded 1 new case, bringing the total number of cases to 11. The North Kuching City Mayor, Dato' Junaidi Redwan, said the restructuring will commence sometime this year.
Speaking at the monthly assembly at DBKU Auditorium on Wednesday, he said the implementation is aimed at improving suitability and efficiency for every staff in carrying out their daily duties. In the SAM ceremony, Datuk Junaidi also presented the 2019 Innovative and Creative Convention Group and Lean DBKU Convention Award, along with the presentations of a trophy and certificate of appreciations to the mayor.
Hello there everyone and welcome back. Now the relevant authorities are called by His Majesty to be more proactive in delivering immediate aid to flood victims stranded in rural areas. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Bilal Shah said there are those who say they are stranded in one place with no assistance in sight.
Earlier, His Majesty drove a four-wheel drive vehicle to the temporary relief centre in Wisma Belia at Kuantan to help flood victims. His Majesty expressed his sympathy and sadness to the flood victims in Pahang and Malaysia in general. His Majesty hoped that the people would receive appropriate assistance to help them face the difficult situation. While Al-Sultan Abdullah met and talked to the flood victims, Raja Pemaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria continued the routine of preparing meals for the flood victims.
The 15th General Election, or GE15, will be implemented if all parties unite to give their full cooperation and abide by the new normal to prevent COVID-19. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Elections Commission, Dato' Abdul Ghani Saleh, mentioned that the guideline to prevent COVID-19 will be implemented tightly throughout the election process. Abdul Ghani explains that the Commission will cooperate with the related parties for the implementation of control in line with the instructions within the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988 or Act 342. This includes the briefing of officers, nomination of candidates, printing process and the revision of voting papers, production and calculation of postal votes, review of vote boxes throughout the campaign period, voting day and official vote count. Meanwhile, for the campaign activities, candidates or contesting parties are encouraged to campaign on social media platforms. He said this will depend on the creativity of the candidate or contesting party to win support. In addition, GE15 must be held within 60 days from the date of Parliament dissolution. The Election Commission will be responsible to carry out the general election based on the jurisdiction of the Federal Constitution. UMNO must decide its political cooperation and direction carefully if the party decides to sever ties with Parti Bersatu Pribumi Malaysia or Bersatu. If the party decides not to continue working with Bersatu, UMNO must decide who they will cooperate with in the next general election.
This was stated by Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hussein, adding that he was even willing to relinquish his cabinet post should the party order all UMNO ministers to do so. The Foreign Minister and former UMNO Vice President said that UMNO must make carefully political planning considering that the general election is near. He said the party must learn the lesson that Barisan Nasional only won 79 seats during the 14th general election. Hishamuddin also said the country is still facing the COVID-19 pandemic while recording high daily cases. With the endless conflict over power in the country, in the end, he said the rakyat will suffer and lose confidence.
On to some good news as Malaysian economy is expected to rebound rapidly once the spread of the COVID-19 is successfully controlled and alleviated. This is based on the country's potential for rapid economic recovery as well as its stable fiscal and financial position.
Finance Minister Tengku Dato' Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said this expectation is based on the effective lockdown index. An international consultant had predicted that Malaysia is among the 3 countries with the most room to control and elevate the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021. Citing an international report, he said Malaysia ranked as the 5th key investment and business destination among the world's developing economies for 2021, surpassing China, the Philippines, India and Indonesia. A report by an international consulting firm concluded that Kuala Lumpur remains attractive to the international business community. While the government is planning the nation's economic journey post-COVID-19, Tengku Zafrul said any decision practiced by the finance minister must balance between existing resource management as well as positive or multiplier impact in the short and long term.
The process of reviewing new and appeal applications of Bantuan Prihatin Nasional or BPN 2.0 is underway. The fulfillment of the first phase of BPN 2.0 through BSN for those whose accounts failed to be credited is still ongoing. The government will announce the date of payment of the second phase of Bantuan Prihatin Nasional or BPN 2.0 soon. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Abdul Aziz said it would be also announced in the near future the new applications and approved appeals. These are expected to be channeled starting this month. Meanwhile, the reviewing of new applications on the Prihatin Special Grant 2.0 is in the process of cross-checking between the Inland Revenue Board of Malaysia and the local authority. The results will be announced in the near future. Following the next news, as Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency or OMEA Sarawak Director, First Admiral Zin Azman Muhammad Yunus said the search for the missing 59-year-old man is ongoing with no new clue found. However, remain optimistic and expressed hope for positive outcome today.
Zin said the Malaysian Civil Defence Force Sarawak, the Fire and Rescue Department and the Royal Malaysia Police are still looking for the man. At this moment, only the boat and life jacket have been found, but the man remains missing.
Area hutan bakau, jadi kita kesan bot tu pun dalam kawasan tersebut. So mungkin mangsa tersangkut ataupun terperangkap di kawasan tersebut. Kerana di kawasan sini perbezaan pasang surut dia agak tinggi ya.
However, he hopes that the search and rescue operation today would bring good news so as to ease the missing man's family. Meanwhile, he advised fishermen to always wear life jackets when fishing at the sea. This could reduce the risk of drowning.
Memohonlah kerjasama nelayan, especially nelayan tempatan yang berbot tradisional yang keluar berseorangan, yang keluar kurang daripada 5 orang ni. Pastikan memakai life jacket setiap masa. Penting. Kalau berlaku insiden, risiko untuk lemas tu kuranglah sebab dah pakai life jacket. Tapi bila tak pakai tu, apa yang berlaku, kita akan jumpa bot sahaja dengan peralatan memancing apa semua, tapi orangnya tak jumpa lagi.
Meanwhile, the Sarawak Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, or OMEA, is expected to receive the first of its new offshore patrol vessels, or OPVs, in June this year at the latest. The ships will serve as main vessels that will strengthen the agency's enforcement in the state's waters.
Tahun ini dijangka bulan 4 ke bulan 6 lah, insyaAllah. Sebab sepatutnya lebih awal, tapi kesan daripada COVID-19, tenaga kepakaran ni daripada overseas. Sekarang ni mereka nak masuk, belum dapat kebenaran. Mana dia itu yang melewatkan proses untuk siapkan kapal tu.
He also added that the first vessel, named KM Tun Fatimah, will be stationed in Beting Patinggi Ali. Meanwhile, with the additional vessels received, the agency would be able to increase its enforcement and patrols in the state's waters. Thank you for staying with me. Now, the current cold weather experienced in the country is nothing unusual. With the current state of the weather, certain locations can dip to 20 degrees Celsius anytime. Malaysian Meteorological Department Director General Jailan Simon stated that the cold weather is expected to occur early February in the north and east coast states of the peninsula. The lowest temperature ever recorded was at 15.7 degrees Celsius in Kuala Krai District, Kelantan on the year 2015. He noted that this was due to incessant rainfall, overcast weather and cold winds from the northern Asia or the polar regions. As we dive into the local sports sector, former player for Kelantan United, Elton Alemau, joins Kuching City FC as a first line of defence after the team is in the final stage of transferring the Brazil player. Now, the statement was revealed by assistant head coach Idris Untong.
Disuruh oleh Coach Irfan mula trial di Kuching lah. Si kami bani manahnya konfrontasi terus dalam timnya di agennya berjumpa dengan kita pun manajemen nangganya dulu lah.
When asked regarding the position of Brian Jones if Elton Alemau becomes a reality, this is what he explains.
Brian Jones ya sepatutnya isi ada dalam dah habis yang pun kontrak. Sebab Hudson dengan Leo Alves masih termasuk Utah. Dan today kita di bahagian kekurangan di bahagian pertahanan. Jadinya pergi trial.
Idris Untong stated when contacted by TVS Sarawak on Wednesday. Concurrently, Kuching City FC revealed 3 main players of the President's Cup 2020 to join the team in conquering Premier League next season. Those 3 players are Amir Amri Saleh, Amirul Iqmal Bolhi and Diego Baggio. Kuching City FC in a statement said the 3 players, aged 22, have shown good quality and progress throughout the tour series held last year. Now, Kampong Emplam Kabong will soon have their own multi-purpose hall by the end of July this year. Now, the hall is expected to accommodate at least 300 guests and begin construction on January 8, 2021. Kabong State Assemblyman Muhammad Shikader said the project is one of the public facilities under the Rural Transformation Project or RTP in the constituency. He said the construction of the hall will cost approximately 300,000 ringgit and facilitate local folks to gather conveniently and safely. Muhammad Chi said during the handing over ceremony of the project from the Public Works Department to the selected contractors. He further added that there will be 2 more projects under the RTP, namely a community hall worth 3.5 thousand ringgit and the Kampong Mentang Mosque that will cost 1,000 ringgit. Now, 5 national para-athletes are undergoing quarantine at the Kampong Pandan Paralympic Centre of Excellence after tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. Now, according to Paralympic Council of Malaysia, or PCM President Datuk Seri Mega D. Shariman Megat Zaharuddin, all the athletes would remain under quarantine until they were cleared.
Commenting further, he also said that the National Sports Council, MSN, had also issued guidelines for several coordinators at the centre to monitor the movement of the athletes. Meanwhile, MSN Director General Dato' Ahmad Shapawi Ismail in a statement yesterday confirmed that 7 national athletes, including 5 para-athletes, were confirmed positive for COVID-19 after undergoing tests prior to the start of the centralised training camp. The positive cases involved 2 from athletic wheelchair tennis, wheelchair basketball, 2 and a hearing-impaired 10-pin bowling athlete as a boccia official. A total of 466 of the 735 athletes under the podium program and national backup athletes and officials have undergone swab tests as their respective training centres coordinated by MSN and the National Sports Institute.
Now, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, it was not something that could hold back the Sarawak Badminton para-athletes team in building efforts for the team. According to head coach Suhaili Laiman, 3 new talents were brought in for the National Paralympics in Johor for the 2022 edition.
Kini tu dia bolehlah dia dididikkan yang baru. Yang bakat baru ada diambil, ada 3 orang yang bakat baru. 1 SL 3, 1 SL 4 dan 1 SU 5 bakat baru pun.
He said so when contacted by TVS on Wednesday. Commenting further, Suhaili added, there is also planning to participate in some prestigious tournaments in Kuala Lumpur. According to him, although the plan was part of the team's preparation framework, it also depends on the current COVID-19 situation. Meanwhile, among Sarawak badminton para-athletes teams, winnings include 5 medals in the past, with 2 gold medals, 1 silver medal and 1 bronze medal.
And that concludes TVS Nightline for tonight, here with me, Cheryl Shamina. As always, thank you for tuning in tonight. I'll see you next time. Have a good night.